Welcome back to the Voice of Metal. Sorry about that earlier. I had some issues. But anyway, welcome back. Um, I have some rather interesting stuff that I'd like to talk about when it comes to metal music. Basically, what I'm going to talk about tonight is some five bands that remind me of a band that I have known and loved for a very long time. It's one of the bands that I felt from the very beginning when somebody first introduced them back in, I think, 2020, no, wait, somewhere in the 2000s. I think it's 2004 maybe, or before. I think it was like 2002, but I'm not sure. Maybe 1999, something like that. But anyway, Slipknot, of course, that is one of the biggest bands out of all the bands that are out there right now. Even more so than some other bands that I know, because they're so diverse, so different, so unique in sounding. So, my new list from tonight, I found this online through Metal Hammer of different bands, and I have not heard. Actually, I don't think I've heard any of these bands, so it'd be interesting to find out. But I would thought I would share those actual bands with you guys so you can hear them for the first time. And really, I don't have a whole lot to say about it because I don't know that much about the bands, to be honest, which is kind of sad. So it's going to be a really short show unless I talk about something else. But I can talk about other things that I like and enjoy, or even what Slipknot songs I do enjoy. Um, One of the first ones I'm going to talk about here tonight is Vended. And it says here, let's address the most obvious one of new metal up and comers, Vended, from Griffin Taylor on vocals, Simon Crayon, it's not Crayon, Crayon, I can't say the name, sorry, on drums, basically, and the respect, Sons of Corey Taylor and Clown. So these guys are definitely, I have heard some of their music already. So it's one of those things I didn't know that I had or had not heard. But anyway, it's rather interesting. There definitely will be getting a 90s Slipknot show in 2003 is what it says, which is rather interesting. Because the guy sounds just like Corey Taylor, if this is the one I'm thinking of. It's pretty badass, I think. But anyway, moving on to the next one on the list is the swollen teeth. Frankly, you know as much as I do when it comes to Ematic New Kids on Block, Swollen Teeth. Self-titled debut single was produced by Slipknot. Oh, okay. By Sid Wilson and slammed with a hulking guitars for more distorting. Interesting. Anyway, moving on. I was trying to read what it had to say. I didn't get a chance to read all these, so it's hard to know what I'm talking about if I don't know what I'm talking about, right? But anyway, Graphic Nature is another one that actually is a rather interesting looking band from what I've seen on some of the videos here just recently. So I'll have to check them out. The debut album of this British respects rattled every filling at the start of 2023. Oh, Graphic Nature smashed new metalcore together in a a mind waiting to die is what it's called, I guess. The sheer perspective impact of in your face drum and bass both lurk in your ears back to the early days of Slipknot, apparently. That's interesting. Interesting. Red Method is the next one. And this is the extreme new metal, apparently. Crew routinely wrecked stages across wrecked across the stage of the UK. Whatever. Basically, it looks like they played at the Download Festival, Bloodstock, Takedown Festival since the pandemic. That's interesting. So that's quite a few shows for a band to start off with in 2023. Were no mere ripoffs. So that's kind of interesting. The Raging tracks come packed with trash frontman Mikey Goodman leading his erotic howls in 2021 debut. Oh, okay. So they started in 2021 for The Sickness. It's being produced by Scott Atkins. Huh, interesting. Oh, which was a part of Cradle of Filth, which is kind of cool. I like that. That's pretty awesome. Anyway, oh, and Hemorrhage is the other one that was one of the top five closest bands to what your Slipknot fix is like. So this is interesting. You probably never heard of Gary Bennett's, but he's a basically sounds like he runs for the gamut of black metal to synth vocal loveness. That's interesting. With recently launched solo Hemorrhage, the Texan honors the Angus sounds of his 90s upbringing, industrial, metalcore, and of course, new metal of all forms of music, endoskeleton. Huh. New single Reeked especially seems like it owes itself to the nine. Okay. It rages for a brisk 3.5 minutes, and the drums scratching the turntables, which sounds like a Slipknot song. The singing, screaming choruses smack with a similar sting to Iowa. The track's taken off a self-titled debut album that drops on June 16th. Okay, we'll have to check that out when it comes out. That'd be kind of cool. So I'll have to add those to a little playlist of what songs they do have out. I'm not sure how new or how around these bands have been. Vended, I know, has been around for a while. The other ones I'm not certain of, but it's rather interesting to hear that there are some bands out there like Slipknot, because especially the part with the turntables on the one. I'm sorry I didn't quite read ahead of to get a familiar being familiar with what I was talking about. So I apologize for that. Usually I kind of get these things and then I try to look them over really quickly to start the show for the night. So I need to be better prepared for the next couple times. But anyway, it's rather interesting because to me, having something that's close to Slipknot is a really good thing to have a broad spectrum of music, but still have a familiar sound to it. I think for me personally, with Slipknot, the first album was one of those things that, like I said before, and I'll say it again, it was taken by blind faith. A gentleman that I used to know that I worked with actually talked me into listening to them. He said these guys are phenomenal. You have to check them out. He said if you like metal, you definitely like these guys. I said, oh really? It's like how good could Slipknot really be? I said because he said they're from Iowa. It's like, okay, Iowa, that's interesting. It's like, okay, let's see what they got, you know. And he was telling me a little bit about the masks and this, that, and the other, and how the philosophy was that to them, at least when they were starting off, it was about the music more than them. And the mask represented that. Basically, we're not worried about, people knowing who we are. We just want them to enjoy what we do. And that, I think, right there says volumes, personally, for Slipknot and other bands like it, because sometimes you want people to know you for your music, not so much yourself. But it's kind of a good little, I guess, gimmick, I guess you could say, or a shtick. Because, things with advertising and everything else out there, it's memorable usually. So sorry about my cold. I have had a cold all day. I don't know why. Last couple days, but anyway, that's what sets them apart. I really have thought that from the very beginning, but it's more than just the masks. I mean, it's a nice added bonus. It kind of gives you a little flair. Even their live performance, which I have seen. Yeah, I can't believe this. Here after so many years, right? About 23 years, I finally go to a Slipknot concert. Go figure, right? I've always loved the music. I've always bought every album, just about. I think one album I don't think I have, but every one since then, well, except for the newest ones, because I've been streaming most of that. So I haven't really bought any newer albums because I've been spending money on just a subscription service, so I get to listen to whatever I want. So I do listen to them. But before that, I was definitely buying every single album. I should buy the other albums too, because that way I have them. Um, so yeah, it'd be kind of interesting to have those as well, because I got every single one of them, just like all the other albums that I've possessed in my time frame of music history, I guess you could say, when they first came out, like Metallica's stuff and Pantera's stuff, and who else? Sepultura. Um, I didn't get all the later albums from Sepultura though, unfortunately, because I don't know if I just wasn't looking for them or something else is going on or what in my life, so I didn't have an opportunity to do that. Excuse me. Anyway, um, sorry, my nose is still bothering me. Um, what I was trying to say was that most of those bands out there that I know really well, um, and really have enjoyed. I've bought their albums and they've been become huge. The one thing is rather interesting is bands that I think could have been or should have been bigger but didn't. Actually, there's even some bands now I'm just learning about just recently, like Justin and Flotsam and Obituary and all these other bands. I mean, I used to listen to, I knew Testament a little bit, but I didn't listen to much of their stuff. I'm trying to think of some other bands that I just recently listened to that I really like. But yeah, some of those guys should have been bigger. They should have been, more well known. But a lot of that, like I said before, and I'll say it again, is the music industry out there. So if you are a person that's younger, if you are a person that knows Slipknot or other bands that are real well known, explore. Trust me, it's well worth it. That's part of the other reason why, besides getting to know the bands, is to get to know new bands. I think that if you get that experience of learning about new bands that you might not know, and there's a lot of people that don't know them, and even I don't know everyone out there. There are some people that I know that know a lot more than I do about different bands, and I've said, let me know. I want to hear them. Just tell me, shoot out some names, because yeah, that's the best way to do it, is to have somebody tell you, oh, I like this band, this band, this band. If you like this band, you might like that band. Um, I've been doing a lot of that with deep cuts, and they have a thing on YouTube where you can do on the YouTube Music where you can actually put in the bands that you usually listen to or a certain mix of certain ones that you usually listen to. You basically pluck their name in, and that gives you a discovery. So basically, it'll play other bands that sound similar or close to the bands that you have on your list. So it makes it really great to explore new music. And you can also do deep cuts too, which is kind of nice, which is the songs that you don't normally hear, except for on the radio of Slipknots or whatever bands. People that are true Slipknot fans, I'm sure, know almost every single song out there, even if the radio station doesn't play it now because they bought the album. So that's, for me, that's me. I think that speaks volumes when it comes to people that are fans. But also I want to listen to other bands stuff like, besides Korn. Actually, that was another one I used to listen to a lot of. One of the big bands, and other ones too. I'm not going to mention Pantera is another. Sepultura. Um, some of the later stuff with Sepultura I didn't listen to as much because I didn't know about. Kalex I don't know about that much at the time, but I have listened to it recently. Um, I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff. I was listening to like Roots, Bloody Roots. Some of the ones Roarback I think is one of the other ones. Um, Nation, that was a really good album. I like that one myself. It's not quite Sepultura the way it was. And the other thing is, also, I knew that they had switched singers after a while. But the one thing I didn't know is where Max Cavalera had gone to, that he actually started his own band, which is Soulfly, which is kind of depressing because if I would have known that, I would have listened to it a lot sooner. Let's put it that way. So it's just like the Cavalera conspiracy and the Cavalera brothers coming back with full force, and even the new um, well, I should say the re-release of their old album, which I definitely would like to check out. And I definitely saw quite a few people that were interested in that. So I'm trying to remember the date that I said that was out there. I think it's already out, but I'm not sure. Was it June? I think it might be June or July. But anyway, or is it May? I don't know. But anyway, I'll have to check that out later if I remember to do that, if I don't forget. But yeah, so hopefully you guys will enjoy some of these bands that I just talked about and some other bands too. Um, I'm trying to think of some of the, I might add that to the playlist at the end. I think some of the other bands I was just talking about because I think they're worthwhile. The one thing I did not know, and a friend of mine told me that Jason Newsted, that was in Metallica, actually was in Jetsam and Flossom before he was in Metallica, which I didn't know. And he's also got uh, bands out now that he's in. And I even saw an interview with him, and he's like, God, he's getting so much older. It's really cool. He still seems pretty awesome, as far as his health and everything. So it's pretty cool. He's still kicking it. So that's pretty awesome. I like that because, we all want to know how to say the best for the people that we definitely enjoy listening to. So, um, I guess I will say good night. Thank you for watching and following. Um, and like I said before, and I'll say it again, the one thing about the voice of metal or voices of metal is that without you guys subscribing and liking the videos, the channel won't grow. So I'm hoping. Oh, hello, broke. I'm broke. Hello, how are you? I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Are you still here? For some reason, it's not showing my stuff here. Oh, here we go. Oh, hold on. Let me see here. Oh, I got 4 views. I was on the wrong thing. I was on stream settings instead of analysis, so I couldn't see the people in the room. So I appreciate you guys coming in and watching it while it's live because it's kind of cool to have people here listening and talking and even discussing stuff. So I apologize for that because I wasn't paying attention to that. So hopefully it wasn't that long ago. Um, they were on here. It looks like somebody's still here. So I appreciate that. Anyway, like I said before, without the people watching, liking, and subscribing, and even chatting too would help, I think, because the more stuff that we talk about, the more interesting the conversation is, the more views we have. And we have, I guess, no viewers. Okay. Anyway, um, so I appreciate that. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. It's so great to hear from you guys and even people that haven't been on here for a while and they keep missing me. So just so you know, wink, wink, Clover. Hopefully she'll be back. I'm sure she will. And I'm trying to remember the other person's name, but I miss you guys both. So hopefully you guys will be back. Um, yeah, like I said, definitely. There is one thing I'm hoping to do later on down the road, but don't quote me on that. Don't hold me to it. but maybe a contest. Maybe a contest. Who knows? I might have you guys. I might quiz you guys. You might have to go through all the videos to find certain things in my videos. Who knows? I'm not gonna say what until later on. Then you'll have to watch every single video just to find it. And the first person that comments, maybe I might say, hey, I might get you something special. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. It depends on how fast the channel grows. So the faster the channel grows, you might get something special. I don't know. I'm hoping. That's what I plan on doing. I'm hoping to. But that reminds me, speaking of things, I did sign up for so many entries into a fandom contest to see Metallica, because I know my son's been wanting to see them for a while. But they give you a certain amount of VIP treatment, a certain amount of cash, and airfare, or I should say a private jet from your city to the city that you want to see them play, and tickets to that show. So I thought that would be really cool. So I signed up. So, and it's basically to contribute to All Within My Hands Foundation. So if you didn't know about it, please do that, because even if you're not a huge fan of Metallica, you can still see Pantera. You can still see Nine Ice Kills. And I forgot I think it's Mammoth, I think is who the other band was that's playing with them for the other show. So even if you don't, huge fan of that, it might be fun just to go to another city to visit and have some fun, right? But it's also good for a worthwhile cause, because I know that they do a lot of charity work, which I think that's great that they do. I think that says a lot for any band that does that, especially ones that are really I say up there and have a lot of popularity and are one of the biggest metal bands out there, right? So I definitely think that's great. Even though I know some people said this, that, and the other, but it's still, like I said, it's the charity. It's about the people. It's about the goodness that they do or have done. So please do that as well if you can do that. And there's other contests out there that they have that still have worthwhile charitable benefactors, people that need our help. So, and you get something special out of it if you win, right? So, which is probably a long shot, but hey, it's worthwhile. That's what I say. So thanks for watching. Thanks again. Don't forget to headbang and like that subscribe button. Thank you. Take care and have a good night.